Hey y'all, welcome and/or welcome back to my channel. My name is Janae, if you didn't know, and today's video is another missing persons case. So if you're ready, let's go. So first of all, Happy New Year, everybody. I hope you all had a safe and fun New Year's Eve. I hope all y'all stay safe. Y'all didn't get into no trouble. I hope this new year bring a lot of growth and prosperity to all of you. And whatever you're looking for out of this year, I hope that you obtain it, as long as it's good. And I just want to say right fast that I will be on a regular uploading schedule. So it'll be Monday and Friday. I put a poll here on YouTube and 100% of you voted for Monday and Friday. All four of y'all said Monday and Friday. So that's when I'm gonna upload. If not for nobody else, then for the 4 people who said Monday and Friday. And if that don't work for the rest of y'all, you should have went and voted on the poll. So Monday will usually be a missing persons case, and if I don't have a missing persons case, it'll be just, a regular true crime day. And then Friday will always be a true crime story. But anyways, that was all I had to say, and we just gonna go ahead and get right into today's case. So today we're going to be talking about Nefertiri Trader. In the early morning hours of June 30th, 2014, she was seen being put in the back of her silver 2000 Acura RL. The car drove off and Nefertiri was never seen again. So at the time of her apparent abduction, Nefertiri was a 33-year-old mother of 3 who lived in Newcastle, Delaware. And she worked at Christiana Hospital, but she was on medical leave at this time. So the day before Nefertiri went missing was June 29, 2014, and that day was pretty normal. She talked to her mama like she always do, and her mom said that during that conversation, during the phone call that they had, nothing seemed out of the ordinary. Nefertiri didn't seem stressed out. She just didn't get the feeling that anything was wrong. So like I said, they had their normal daily talk. They got off the phone. And once they got off the phone, Nefertiri was pretty much just hanging around the house with 2 of her kids, her cousin William, who lived there, and, herself. They were just chilling around the house and pretty much just relaxing until it was time for Nefertiri to take her cousin William to work. So she took him to work and then went home. And from here, everything else is pretty much just speculation, because nobody, at least not publicly, really know like what actually happened from that point on. So at some point in the early hours of June 30th, Nefertiri decided that she was going to go to a 7-Eleven that was near her house. So this 7-Eleven was only a 7-minute drive away from her house, and so it is assumed that Nefertiri drove to the 7-Eleven, where she was confirmed to have bought 2 cups of coffee, a loaf of bread, and some cigarettes. Now, while the surveillance footage has never been released publicly, the police say that they did see Nefertiri go into the store, and it was confirmed by the 7-Eleven clerk, because Nefertiri, she was a regular at this 7-Eleven, and so the clerk did say that he saw her, and it was kind of weird to see her at that hour of the morning. It was like around 3:30, 3:45-ish, and he said that she came in there regularly, but like I said, it was just kind of odd for her to be in there at that hour. So anyways, it was said that she was seen wearing a pink sweatsuit, and she bought her items and left the store. And once she left the 7-Eleven, she went back home, and it is known that she made it back home because of certain details that I'll be sharing a little bit later on. But this is where Nefertiri would be abducted at around 4 o'clock in the morning. She wasn't reported missing right away, because later on that day, when her mama called her, she didn't get an answer, but she didn't really think too much of it at first until she called multiple times and didn't receive an answer or a call back. But she still wasn't stressing out about it though, because she kind of figured that Nefertiri had went back to work sooner than she expected. And so she decided to just wait until Nefertiri would be home, or at least be off of work, to try to call her again, which was around 4:30 p.m. So her mom calls her again at 4:30, and she still don't get no answer. And at this point, she's like, okay, something got to be wrong, because Neffy always answered her phone, or she always called me back. Even, if she was at work, she should be off by now, and she not answering her phone. So her mom ended up calling her cousin William and telling him like, hey, can you go check on Neffy? Can you see if she's there, or whatever the case may be. Now, it's unclear if William was at home already, because remember I told y'all he lived with her, but she had dropped him off to work. So I'm assuming that he works overnight if she dropped him off later on in the evening. And so it's unclear if he was already at the house, or if when Nefertiri's mom called, he made his way to the house. But in any event, he's outside and he sees that, okay, something is definitely wrong at this point, because when he looks in the yard, he sees a smashed loaf of bread that looked like it had been stepped on. Nefertiri's sandals was close by the door, and there was a pack of cigarettes and an unopened condom that was on a porch chair, and there was also 2 cups of coffee on the porch as well. And even before Denise had called William, Denise was already on her way over there. And when she got there, she seen the yard and the porch and all the stuff that was left on there, and she starts panicking because she also don't see her daughter's car in the driveway either, but her shoes are there. So Denise called Neffy's sister, who lives close by, and she also called the police. And so Neffy's sister shows up, but the police didn't arrive for another 2 hours. So when they get there, they see the suspicious way that the lawn and the porch was left, and they start doing a canvass around the area. And this is when they run into a neighbor named Joe Robinson, and he says that he actually did see, something suspicious. So Joe's account of what happened was, it was 4 o'clock in the morning and he was awakened by a scream. So he heard somebody scream outside. And so he goes to his bedroom window, which is on the second floor of his house, and he goes to peek out, be the nosy neighbor and peek out of the blinds. And he said that he saw Nefertiri being carried to her car. She looked like she was maybe either unconscious or asleep, or she just looked kind of limp. And he said that it was somebody in a black hoodie and tan shorts that was carrying her, and they put her in the back of her car and then drove off. Now, when asked why he didn't call the police, he said that he didn't call the police because he thought that the person putting her in the back of her car was going to get her medical help. And so that's what he chalked it up to, and he didn't think too much about it until they came to his door just now. They also found another neighbor who actually had a camera on the outside of their house. However, the camera wasn't on at the time of Neffy's abduction, and so it didn't capture anything. And there was pretty much no help to the investigation at all. So due to the circumstances and Joe's account of what happened, Nefertiri was classified as a missing person, and there was a gold alert that was put out for her disappearance. And at first, I really didn't know what a gold alert was, but when I looked it up, it basically said it is a procedure used to aid in the identification and location of a missing person with a disability, a missing person who is a senior citizen, and a missing person who is a suicidal. And because Neffy was on medical leave from her job, that's why she was classified. That's why there was a gold alert that was put out for her. Now remember, they're not only looking for Neffy, they're looking for her car as well. And so the police started checking local businesses, places that was close to the 7-Eleven, just places that was close to Neffy's house. And they did catch her car driving by a Verizon, like right after the time she was abducted. And that was actually the last time that her car was ever seen, because to this day, they still do not have Nefertiri's car. It was a silver 2000 Acura RL with the license plates of 404893. And like I said, they're still looking for this car. And the Delaware River is not too far away from Neffy's house either. So I don't know if that got searched, but I mean, I'm pretty sure it did. It should have gotten searched if they, if the police are doing what they're supposed to do. It should have been searched, and they didn't find it anywhere yet. So as the investigation continued, they started talking to more people, and it was found out that her 17-year-old son said that he did hear some type of commotion right around the time that his mom was supposed to have been abducted. And he said that he thought it was coming from inside the house. And so he went downstairs to see what was going on. But when he went down there, nobody was in the house and nothing was happening. So he just went back upstairs and went back to sleep. And the same neighbor who police talked to at the beginning of the investigation when they went to canvass the neighborhood, he told, I think it was a news crew. I don't know who it was. I don't think it was like another police interaction. But he actually had a different account of what he saw. So this time he said that he was already awake and he saw Neffy's light go on her porch. And so just being a nosy neighbor, he looked out of his window, and that's when he saw Neffy being dragged to her car and forced into her back seat. And then the car drove away. But remember, the first time he said that he was awakened by a scream, and that she was being placed because she looked unconscious. And now he was already awake, and then she's being shoved and forced. And this time he said he didn't call the police because it was always some type of drug dealings that was going on over at that house, and he didn't want to be involved, not even a little bit. So he didn't call the police. But Denise, Neffy's mom, she said that's not true. There was never no dealings, like no drug dealings that went on over there. She said she lived with her daughter for a couple years and no type of drug activity was going on at that house. And there wasn't any type of police reportings, any type of like other reports that would indicate that there was drug dealings that was going on at the house. So won't know if that's the truth either. I doubt it. And because he was the only witness and he was the only one who had any account of what may have happened to Neffy, it's kind of hard to decipher what was real and what wasn't because he has two completely different stories, you know? Now, it's a couple of different theories that are floating around about what might have happened to Neffy. Some people say that Nefertiri was probably followed from the 7-Eleven, but that seems a little bit unlikely because if she drove to the 7-Eleven, that means that somebody would have had to follow her in another car because you ain't about to follow nobody on foot. It's impossible to follow somebody while you walking and they're driving. So that means there would have had to have been two cars, Neffy's car and the car that followed her, and there would have had to have been two people because they left in Neffy's car and they would have had to leave their car there, or the passenger would have had to got out and then did this. But then if that's the case, wouldn't it have been easier no matter what, whether there was one or two people, to just put her in their car and leave instead of having to fight her to find her car keys, or, you know, fight her to have to give up the car keys or whatever the case may be and then try to drive away? Like, it just don't make sense, kind of like at all. And then there's another theory that somebody was kind of just lurking around and attempted to sexually assault Neffy because of the unopened condom that was found in the chair on the porch. But if that's the case, if somebody going around here sexually assaulting people, are they really carrying condoms? That's not common. I'm not saying it can't happen, but that's definitely usually not common, especially for an unplanned attack. And then that leads us to another thing, which is, was this planned or was it random? Because it would make more sense if it was random, because if it was planned, how would they have known that Neffy was going to be out of her house at that time in the morning when it was unusual for her to leave the house at that time in the morning, right? And then people were also wondering about the 2 cups of coffee, why she would have bought 2 cups of coffee. They were thinking that maybe somebody was at her house while her cousin was away and she was having, like, you know, some adult time with another person, and that's what happened. But her mom said that she usually buys 2 cups of coffee because her daughter likes to sit and have coffee and breakfast with her in the morning. And so that's why she would have had the 2 cups of coffee. Y'all, I don't know. This case is really bothersome because somebody literally watched this woman get taken away from her home and for whatever reason did not call the police. And we can't really fault the neighbor because a lot of the times people really just don't want to be involved. And I don't really know if that would have made like a huge difference anyway. Maybe, but we'll never know. And yeah, so this family is still looking for Neffy. There is a $30,000 reward that's being offered for any information that leads to the whereabouts of Nefertiri. She was born on February 31st, 1981, making her 33 years old at the time of her disappearance. She was a mother to 3 children, and she was described as a people person. It said that she was very outgoing and that she lived her life to the fullest. Her cousin William said this about her. He said, "She is an outgoing person. She's real fun to be around. And if you don't like her, you would love to not like her. She is a real good person." And so that is what I want to leave you guys with. Thank you all so very much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you all in the next one.